and it kind of emphasizes the camp more than like the suspense and the action. Like when Mamuwalde is like throwing water barrels on people, and it's like, oh, this is like the 1966 Batman. They're mild gripes for like a very, again, influential movie.
Well, everybody, welcome to Camp Kaiju Monster Movie Podcast. We are your hosts, Vincent Hannum
and Matt Levine.
And we are talking about all of our favorite monster movies, the good, the bad, and the downright campy, and asking if they stand the test of time.
Traditional kaiju, creature features, space invaders, the supernatural, and everything in between. All strange beasts welcome here.
Camp Kaiju is brought to you by Zach Linder and the Zach Pack, powered by Coldwell Banker Realty. Whether you're looking for your dream home, a savvy investment property, or expert guidance in home rehab and flipping, the Zach Pack has you covered. Check the links in the show notes for more information.
You shall pay, Black Prince. I curse you with my name. You shall be Blacula.
Blacula, the Black Avenger, rising from his to fill the night with horror. Blacula, Dracula's soul brother, deadlier even than
he. You know, he is a strange dude.
You're the nut that ran in front of my cab. You're the only imbecile on this street. Boy.
Blacula.
Look at man, you found, she's got to be around here somewhere. Now listen, you take your hands off of me. I don't know you.
He thirsts for your blood. He hungers for your soul. Warm young bodies will feed his hunger. Hot, fresh blood will quench his awful thirst.
Make it a Bloody Mary. Are you, into the occult?
No!
How about the, heavy stuff?
What do you think of vampires?
Vampires? I think they're possibly the most fascinating of all.
More horrifying than Dracula. The Black Avenger, Blacula, from American International Pictures.
Guys, we are met. We're in our 6th year here of Camp Kaiju. We are over 150 episodes, 160 episodes, and I hate to admit it, we're finally getting to not just Blacula, but I will admit we're finally getting to a black powerhouse film with all black cast. No, I shouldn't say all black, but predominantly black cast, black filmmakers. It's long overdue, but I'm so excited to talk about it. And to help us break it down is the one and only Shawn Pryor.
Hey, Shawn, thank you for joining us. Always a pleasure.
Thank you for having me. Like, listen, like anytime I can come to the camp, like it always like, it helps my soul, helps my spirit. And so like, and because of y'all, I got to watch Blacula again for like the first time in like 3 years. So that's always a good thing, So yeah, I'm excited to talk about the movie tonight.
So Shawn, I'll tell you, and I mean this, you really are one of the best things to come out of this podcast, your collaboration and your solidarity when we talk about real life horrors. Not fun, but we appreciate your support. So thank you for being a friend of the pod, friend of us.
You're more than welcome. Like, listen, man, like we're all in this together. You know what I mean? And like none of us are free until all of us are free. And like, don't worry, I won't get too heavy talking about the language of oppressors at this time, but
we'll get into it.
Yes, we will.
Yeah.
Yes, we will. But no, like I just friendship is just something that's very important to me. People I strike a chord with, that I can build a rapport with. Like, it's not about the whole giving and getting. It's just like about love and respect. And so, when y'all invited me to the show for Kaiju Unleashed all those years ago, like that was a moment that like it left such a good feeling in my heart. I was like, I gotta keep in touch with these dudes. It's like if I don't, I won't feel right. I was like, I just won't feel right. And like I said, y'all are just, really good people, and y'all got big hearts. And, like to be able to vibe with y'all and stuff like, stuff like this, and like whether it be Godzilla, Blacula, robot jocks, you know what I mean? Like all that stuff. Like anytime, we can do that. It's a beautiful time. And one day we will all meet, we will meet in person one day.
It has to happen.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Talk a little bit, just because you're on the show, and talk about your writing and anything you want to spread the word about to the people.
Yeah, sure. Like, as some of your listeners know, I wrote a book about the history of kaiju in film and television called Kaiju Unleashed, which covers everything from movies to TV shows, video games, comic books, multimedia, toys, like all types of things, from Godzilla to Rodan, from Great Grape Ape to, to whatever have you, King Kong. Like, it's all across the board. I had such a blast writing that book. I have a graphic novel coming out in October. It's a middle reader's graphic novel called Fast Break, about a basketball prodigy. Her name is Michaela, and Michaela's mother gets the job of a lifetime. So they move across town right before basketball season starts. So she goes to a new school. The basketball coach won't let her try out for the team because the coach already has her team ready. And so she ends up joining this like new league. It's a co-ed league. But like, she's like, is this going to be beneath me because she's such an amazing basketball player? But really it ends up being that she needs that team more than the team needs her. And it's also a story that the tagline for the book is growing up as a team effort. And so like that book has been in the making for almost 6 years. And so working with artist Del Hahn, who is incredible, I'm so like proud of what they have been able to do. And so when everybody gets it, I really hope they enjoy it. And it's available for pre-order right now. Okay. If you go to fastbreakcomic.com, you can see like the website that has like all the stores that have it available, or you can go to your local bookstore and ask for it and pre-order it there. So like those are really the two big things that are jumping off right now. Everything else is I'm writing books right now, and trying to pitch some other stuff, and also get my video game life back. Like
same.
I had time for so many things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Well, let's get into it. We'll get some quick nuts and bolts out of the way. Our this month in monster movie history, we'll talk about new and upcoming releases and our personal histories with Blacula before we get into the cast, the crew, some production history, the legacy of this film, and then ultimately on the latter half of this episode, we'll talk about the themes and our own personal takes on the film. All right. Thank you all for hanging out with us, friends. Please rate and review this show wherever you listen. Follow us on patreon.com/campkaiju for additional videos, reviews, merchandise, and more. Special shout out to our Patreon supporters who have signed up at the free level. We still love you. I just wanted to give you some recognition there. But I got to give special thanks to our current Patreon paying supporters, Jason, Chris, Sean, Peggy, Dawn, Steffi, a new supporter, Jim Cheney. Thank you, Jim, and our anonymous patron. The ranks are growing here at camp, and we're very humbled and very proud of you all and the support you give us. So if you want to get in touch with us, leave a comment. You could do so at campkaiju@gmail.com, campkaijupodcast.com, Instagram, or our voicemail number. All that in the show notes. All right, guys. This month in monster movie history, February.
And like I see Reptilicus from 1961.
Mr. Kaiju Unleashed, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, and yes, indeed. Like that is such an awful movie. It is so bad. Like it is a riff. It's a riff worthy movie for sure. The only other one that like really like, I mean, because like there are titles I'm familiar with, but like the My Favorite Martian remake from 1999, where they turned the TV show into a film and had Christopher Lloyd play the Martian. That is one of the most. That is a very bizarre film, and it does very bizarre things. Like there's a scene where, because like, the government's trying to capture, the Martian per se. And the Martian gives his, cause like it's one of his relatives on Earth who's actually an Earth person that he's staying with. Like in the original television show it was Bill Bixby, but I can't remember who played that role, in the film. But like this dude kind of has a girlfriend, and like, basically the Martian like gives her something to eat, which then turns her into a monster for a moment. And then that monster eats like two government agents and then like turns back to normal. And I'm like, no, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Did she just eat two people and we're not saying anything about this? And I'm like, I didn't know that Disney loved cannibalism so much. Like this is wild. And so I never watched that movie again because I was like, look, it was too far for me. And this is this is a kid's film,
I got to be honest with you. I've never seen it. I've never heard of it, but now it's at the top of my watch list.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Same. Is there like a little like political commentary there, like the devouring of the government agents? There has to be something behind that, right?
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's not subtext.
No.
Right. Color me intrigued. I would like to watch that movie. There are a couple on this list that jump out at me as well. We recently talked about The Abominable Snowman, a Hammer horror picture on the podcast with Steffi Theodora. So I'll shout out The Gorgon from 1964, which is another Hammer horror picture. Probably my favorite Hammer movie that I've seen. Those are a little bit hit or miss for me, but this one, The Gorgon, is like so bright and colorful. The sets are like eye-popping and amazing. The costumes are so garish and like over the top, but like so fun to look at. Yeah, the Gorgon is great. I like that movie a lot.
Nice. I'm going to shout out Attack of the Crab Monsters from 1957. This is a Roger Corman picture, produced, directed by the man. It's black and white, cheesy, but surprisingly better than you think. He's rigged up these giant crab puppets on wheels. Sometimes you see the wheels, but the crab monsters are telepathic and they communicate to these people who have been stranded on an island. And now they're like, oh, there's giant crab monsters around. But it gets kind of dark in places. It goes places you might not expect it to for all the cheesiness. So yeah, it's not a bad way to spend an hour and a half. Attack of the Crab Monsters.
Nice. Must have been one of the first Corman productions, right? From 57, pretty early on.
Yeah, pretty early on. We'll mention Corman again later on, just in passing. But yeah. New and upcoming releases. I'm so excited about this. Or just like monster movie news. Are you guys fans of Kenan and Kel?
Yes.
Do you know about this new movie they're making?
Kenan and Kel Meet Frankenstein?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's legit.
Yeah.
I don't know, like in the great tradition of Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. But they're going to do their own thing with it.
Yeah.
I love Kenan and Kel so much.
Yeah. I mean, well, like, man, they are Generation X's Abbott and Costello, if you think about it. And the fact that, like, they are, like, they're timeless and they're also ageless. Because I'm like, both of those guys should be in their 40s. Should be in their mid to late 40s, but like they still like look so young. I'm like, this is how they played off like making a Good Burger 2 a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, this is wild. And the thing is, everybody was happy, when it came out, when it came out. Well, this is before the Ellisons bought Paramount, but that's a whole other story for another time. Anywho, but like, yeah, like they still just look so vibrant and like they're funny together. No matter how this plays out, it's a must for me. I have to see it.
Absolutely. It might be, I don't know, pure nostalgia bait, but I don't care. I love those dudes. I love Frankenstein. Let's go for it. Let's go for broke.
I feel like they should stop trying to like remake all the Universal movies just like straight up, like the Mummy and all that, and like do this, Keenan and Kel meet all the different monsters. I want to see those remakes, not like a straight up remake. You know what I mean?
Years ago, I think there was a hack of Sony, and it was released like internal memos that they were gonna cross over the 21 Jump Street and Men in Black worlds.
Yeah.
And I would have loved that, but I feel like the leak kind of tanked it all. I don't know, but that would have been mind-blowing.
Like, my whole thing was when that got leaked and everybody was talking about it, if I'm a studio head, I'm like, oh, no, this is actually positive talk.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and see if we can get this done, as opposed to the internet fooling Sony into, like, re-releasing Morbius.
Don't studios watch movies? God, don't they understand what we want?
Or listen to their fans, Apparently not.
Never. Boy. Okay. In other monster movie news and other black horror movie news, Sinners made a splash with a record amount of nominations for this year's Oscars.
Yeah.
Was it 16 Oscars, I think, in total?
Something to that extent, yes.
I didn't even know that was the record. I'm like, damn. Good for Sinners.
Yeah. Amazing movie. My 5th favorite of 2025, for whatever that's worth.
Your 5th favorite?
Yeah. Yep. I have my top 10. Like any good film nerd has to have their list. 5 on mine. An amazing movie. I love Sinners.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. Like I didn't really have a lot of time last year to go to the movie theater too much, but I made time to go see Sinners, and I'm glad that I did. And like that movie still sits with me. Like I got the Blu-ray copy for Christmas, and I just, man, it's like it tugs at your heartstrings. It scares the living daylights out of you. It's it's cultural, like it talks about cultures and and just like, oh man, subculture and God, it's in music. Oh God, like the whole musical journey in that movie is amazing. It is absolutely amazing. And Delroy Lindo, I swear that man needs all the awards for his performance in that film, as well as like that whole cast is great. That whole cast was fantastic. I love that movie so much.
And such a good movie theater movie too, like if you haven't seen it in the theater and it's like being re-released in the theaters soon because of the Oscar nominations, make sure you see it in the theater because it's so stylish. It sounds amazing. Like, it would be great at home as well, but like it's just a different experience on the big screen,
Oh yeah, like there was a YouTube video, and I forget who Ryan Coogler was referring to in the video, but somebody interviewed him, and like it was like kind of like it's not a documentary as much as him explaining to people, like, I filmed this with kind of cameras for these kind of shots, and it's really meant for the theater. It's meant for the theater. Yes, you can enjoy it at home, but like these like 3 or 4 shots here, they're filmed this way, and they fill this space in a way that if you can watch it at a theater, please do. And I was like, okay, bet. I was like, I'll be there. So yeah, never been let down from Ryan Coogler.
Well, coming up on Camp Kaiju, Matt, it's your pick, another vampire movie. We'll keep the theme going.
Yeah, with a unique cultural perspective. So Alucarda from 1977, which is a Mexican horror movie. I don't know a lot about it. Juan Lopez Moctezuma directed this film from 1977, Alucarda. From what I've read, one of the greatest Mexican horror movies of all time. So definitely excited for that one.
Nice. And then after that, we're going to the region of Reptilicus, to Scandinavia, with a Norwegian film called Troll Hunter from 2013. I saw this movie basically when it came out. I've been dying to watch it again, and this podcast is the perfect excuse to do that. So Troll Hunter.
I need to check these out because I have not watched either of these.
Oh, it's about a giant troll. So it's a kaiju movie. It's about a team of researchers, and I remember the CGI being really good, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And they use a lot of, I'm not an expert, but like real myth and lore surrounding trolls in Norway. And like you have to feed it a goat to get it out of its out from under the bridge and all the typical fairy tale stuff.
I haven't seen it yet either. I'm excited.
Yeah. All right. Back to vampires. Blacula, one of the most famous. What are our personal histories with this here film? I'd only seen it for the first time just this past week. I'd always heard of it, Blacula, maybe just because of the zeitgeist and pop culture, but I had never seen it. I'd seen clips of it from a documentary that I'm going to mention a lot, that I do mention a lot, called Horror Noir, which is an adaptation of a book by Dr. Robin Means Coleman, which is a history of blacks in American horror films from the 1890s to the present. So it's really like in-depth history. And in the Shudder original adaptation of this book, they talk about Blacula a lot with the director, William Crane. So that was my first exposure to the movie, really. So I was very excited to bring it to the show, Camp Kaiju.
I mean, I can go real quick just because my response will also be short, and then Shawn, you can take it away. But yeah, like you, Vincent, like I had always heard about Blacula, and I'd wanted to see it for many, many years, and finally did this past week. I was a little bit more familiar with another vampire movie with a unique black cultural perspective, Ganja and Hess, which came out the following year, 1973. I've seen that movie several times. I really love that movie. But yeah, for whatever reason, hadn't seen Blacula until this past week. So pretty much new to it, aside from cultural osmosis and, you know, what's kind of known throughout the culture about this movie and the title.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I saw this movie at home. I was a child. I was like 7 years old. It was a cold Saturday. And so like, you know, couldn't go outside and play. And my mom was watching TV. So I was like, oh, you know, cause me and my mom watch TV together all the time. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, okay, well, wherever mom is watching, I got this. It's fine. And Blacula was starting. And I was like, well, that sounds scary. Cause like, I'm not a scary movie person. That's not me. But like the whole time, I didn't leave the room. Like my eyes were constantly fixated on the television because like, you know, I'd never seen anything like that before. You know, at the age of 7, I'd never seen that before. Like to see like a predominantly black cast in a, you know, a science, like basically a sci-fi-ish, you know, horror film. Like I had never seen that. And, you know, and like, cause outside of Roots and like the Jeffersons, like that's the only time I really saw like, you know, really like a predominantly black cast. But like, I just remember being like infatuated by it and like not feeling scared. Like the only time like I would turn my head, and I still do this right now, is that like when they're about to bite somebody and they just start screaming like, "Arr!" I'm like, I can't do this. I can't. Nope.
It's aggressive.
It's very aggressive. It's very aggressive. Yes. But besides that, like even, you know, when we get to the ending, I remember like it didn't freak me out as a child. Like, if anything, it made me feel bad for our titular character. But now, like, I still feel bad. I'm like, but that ending is just gross. But I understand the point. But still, it's nasty.
Yeah, it's a wicked bit of body horror there.
Yeah, it's an example of maybe like kind of crude special effects, just like adding to the sort of like horror of it, you know? Because you can obviously tell how they did it, like the lap dissolve to like these different, well, maybe I shouldn't give away the ending. It's gruesome, and like it's like the low budget just kind of makes it more gruesome, I think, you know?
Who dares touch these rotting bones? Who dares call forth the most horrible specter of the damned? Now he's back. The Black Prince of Darkness, Blacula, recalled by the awesome powers of voodoo to stalk the earth in a new quest for blood. Dracula's soul brother, seething with hate, obsessed with vengeance, craving young bodies, lusting for hot blood to create new victims for the legions of the undead.
And you believe in vampires. Good. That gives you something of an edge over the rest.
William Marshall, again, as the Lord of the Vampires. in a relentless search for Pam Grier, the exciting star of Coffee.
I need you!
Now he is back. Ever more evil, ever more fearful than ever before.
The name is Blacula!
Scream, Blacula, scream. The bloodiest legend of our time.
Bernie Casey is Dr. Black.
Hiya, Doc. No, you can't try that serum on the human.
A monster he could not control had taken over his very soul. A screaming demon rages inside, turning him into Mr. Hyde.
This is no nightmare, Doctor. You're real.
Super strong, supernatural, and super bad.
That's a cross between the abominable snowman and Willie the werewolf.
Indestructible. Nothing can stop him. Not bombs, bullets, or bulldozers. No man alive could take that guy. But he's on his feet when he hits the street. Dr. Black and Mr. Hyde. His victim thinks she's tricked him, but she hasn't a prayer when he leaps through the air. Shot full of lead and he still ain't dead.
In a moment, you look like me.
Dr. Black and Mr. Hyde. Don't give him no sass or he'll kick your ass. Jump out, Jack, for your skull is cracked. The barflies are trying, but their bodies keep flying. The dude stood tall till his butt hit the wall. When the boys go rushing, Mr. Hyde starts crushing. The crowd is hushing as the blood comes gushing.
Just stand there like a bunch of dumb asses. Get him!
There's a heel behind the wheel when Hyde takes his ride. No man can survive when he shifts into drive. It ain't no jive trying to stay alive. Silky won't revive from his final nosedive.
Brother man, this situation is rapidly becoming insalubrious, meaning we're about to stomp a mud hole in your ass.
From the first burst to the last blast, it's Dr. Black and Mr. Hyde, starring Bernie Casey, Rosalind Cash, Stu Gillum, directed by William Blacula Crane. Dr. Black and Mr. Hyde.
This was Abby. This was Abby. A woman loved and in love until that night when something evil came looking for a soul to possess.
I can't stop thinking about your husband.
That creep, forget him. Was this Abby? Now the fun starts.
Grab her, hold her. Hear me, demon. Leave this woman's body.
Abby, rated R.
So this film was directed by William Crane. He was 23 years old when he directed Blacula. He was a recent graduate of the UCLA Film School in Los Angeles. And part of, and this is all new to me, that's why I love doing my research, part of a movement called the LA Rebellion in the late 60s, early 70s, also known as the Los Angeles School of Black Filmmakers. Before the late 60s, which culturally, looking at the United States, it's a time of major social movement. I have a social studies license, sure. What am I trying to say? Women's movement, Black Power movement, civil rights movement. Yes. You had Vietnam, so you had a youth movement, and you're seeing a lot of change. And I think that is reflected in this LA Rebellion, as it's called, when Black enrollment increased in the late 60s and 70s at UCLA. And these filmmakers made opportunities for themselves then in TV and film. William Crane was among them. He doesn't have a ton of movie credits, but a couple that stand out to me. He was an intern on a 1971 film called Brother John, starring Sidney Poitier. And William Crane then later directed 1976's Dr. Black and Mr. Hyde, which I have also heard good things about, but I have not seen.
I've forever been on the fence with Dr. Black and Mr. Hyde. It's a film that like I truly, truly want to enjoy. I struggle with it because like for me, just person.
Yeah.
For me, it, if I compare it to Blacula, and as we continue to talk about Blacula, the film itself, there are things that Blacula sincerely tries to do for the betterment of like black cinema, whereas Dr. Black and Mr. Hyde, it doesn't push that as far, and like it just feels tame. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. It just feels tame, and like it just like hits certain stereotypes, just hit them. And like, I want to like it, but I can't. I've been forever on the fence with it. You know, it just for some reason it does not resonate with me.
We can go off on a blaxploitation tangent here because that's so much a part of this film's legacy, Blacula's legacy, and we can unpack that term later on. But just for the sake of conversation, there's what I have consumed is kind of what you're saying, Shawn. You know, Blacula starts this movement off very strong, this black cinema movement of the 70s. But by the end of this movement, maybe some of the films in what they're portraying grow a little more tame, maybe grow a little more tired.
Yeah. Yeah. And some of the early films in the blaxploitation era are like that too, where it's just like, you know, depending on who's producing it and who's in front and who's behind the camera, some of them can be very stereotypical, but there are some where like the actors make sure that they have agency to make the proper changes even if it doesn't always come across the way they want it, it's still worth watching. And it's also like historical. Like, man, Pam Grier's a perfect example, you know, like that, like the blaxploitation queen back in the day, someone who honestly should have honestly had a better career in Hollywood than she received. You know, like, you know, had a amazing run of blaxploitation films. And so, but like I said, there's good in there, like Shaft, like Shaft, like Warner Brothers was like, yeah, go ahead and spend $500,000 on Shaft. It's fine. And they, you know, and it was a hit. It was so successful. It got another film and it got like, you know, I think it got like a TV series for like a year.
You know, like some of like earlier in the decade too, like Cotton Comes to Harlem from 1970. Really love that movie. And it's directed by Ossie Davis, who of course is a longtime actor. And, you know, it's such a daring movie, and that also had a low budget, but it's so entertaining and so exciting. And like Sweet Sweetback's Badass Song, I really love. I think that's from 1971, maybe it's 73. So like, yeah, there were movies before Blacula that were also like very daring, but like not so much in the horror genre though. And I think that's what Blacula does. That's very unique.
Right. And it kicks off a good number of black horror films. You know, like, so like you have your Dr. Black, Mr. Hyde. Later on, there's like Abby, and which William Marshall is also in. It's kind of like the black version of The Exorcist in a lot of ways. You know, and I think that like if memory serves me correct, and I may be wrong on this because like I haven't watched every single blaxploitation film to date, but I believe there was like a Black Frankenstein movie called Blackenstein.
Yep.
And that is one I have yet to watch. But like but seriously, like there are fantastic films in the blaxploitation era. I understand like some of the negativity towards the genre. But at the same time, so many black people got opportunities from it. You know, like to be 23 years old to direct in Blacula, like that's like for that time period, that is incredible.
And just spitballing here, but like William Marshall, man, what a talent! And he was a veteran of not just TV and movies, but stage. I mean, this guy was classically trained. Blacula, correct me if I mean, arguably is what he's best known for. And is that because the systemic racism didn't give him a chance? They said, Poitier's our man. He should be alongside Sidney Poitier, I think.
Well, what also hurt William Marshall was that during the McCarthy era, when McCarthy was trying to stomp out communism, also in a way that America is dealing right now with the whole situation with ICE and our current government and all these other things. Basically, what McCarthy did is similar to what we're dealing with right now. But McCarthy is like, okay, all these people I don't like, I'm going to put them on a list and I'll make up anything I want about them and call them communists. And William Marshall, who was pro-black, and everything else, got thrown on that list. So, like, he's starting to peak in like 1957, 1958. And then the whole McCarthy thing happens. The movie opportunities start to like dwindle for like 3 or 4 years. Then he moves on to TV and he does like, spot roles on TV, like an episode of Star Trek, an episode of Gunsmoke or Bonanza, one of those two Westerns and things like that. But like, and then like, with the Blaxploitation era with Blacula, it brings him back. Blacula, Scream, Abby. And I think he does like 1 or 2 other movies and then he's back in television. And and the thing is that like as a kid, like I saw him as Blacula before I saw him as the King of Cartoons in Pee-wee's Playhouse. But in my head, I'm like, man, that's the King of Cartoons. When he first shows up in the beginning of the movie, I'm like, the King of Cartoons is in Transylvania. This is incredible. But he deserved so much more than what he actually received. And I mean, and that goes for like a lot of actors in the Blaxploitation era, but like for each actor, it's a different reason why, like he was just he was blacklisted. So, but there are people that would still hire him, but like he's a leading man. Like he's got the swagger, the skill on stage and screen.
Yeah.
But you mean to tell me this is the peak right here?
Right. So I'm thankful. We're all thankful he had the opportunity in something like Blacula. The other side of the coin is it's great these Blaxploitation films exist and the movement is so beautiful and so rich, but the culture that led to its formation in the first place was rotten and segregated. Yeah.
And also like the studios knew it's like, well, we don't have to pay them as much as we pay our white counterparts, and we can film these cheap and on the fly. And, we'll massively profit, but do any of those actors get raises if they're sequels? You know what I mean? Because they probably got stuck with like a 2 or 3 movie contract deal. And so that money's locked in, so it doesn't matter what it makes, how much it makes. They're only paying, XYZ,
One more thing I was thinking of with William Crane. Sorry, just
please
go back to him real
Matt.
quick. But I was really fascinated to read that he was part of the LA Rebellion because, I feel like other directors that were part of that movement, like Billy Woodbury, who made Bless Their Little Hearts, and Charles Burnett, who made Killer of Sheep, are kind of revered figures in American independent film history. Like Killer of Sheep is seen as one of the best American movies of the latter half of the 20th century, and specifically of Black independent cinema. So, I just think it's fascinating and kind of unfortunate that, those directors are fantastic and they deserve to be remembered and cherished. But like William Crane, probably a lesser known name. And it just makes you wonder, like, the horror genre has often been undervalued and underappreciated and kind of just seen as unserious and unsophisticated and all those things. So, is that the reason why probably a lot of people don't really remember William Crane, but many people do remember Woodbury and Charles Burnett? Again, like, there should be room to, like, remember all these figures,
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a thought, but I think I'll come back to that later on in the episode.
Okay.
So the screenplay for Blacula is by Joan Torres and Raymond Koenig. The only other credit they have, at least according to Letterboxd, is the sequel, Scream, Blacula, Scream. Our movie Blacula is inspired by Bram Stoker's Dracula from 1897. Although it's interesting, I read a couple things. There's some similarities to a 1819 novel called The Black Vampire, A Legend of Saint Domingo by an author named Uriah Derrick Darcy. And that's about an enslaved African in the Caribbean who is turned into a vampire and exacts vengeance on his captors. Whether or not that has anything to do with Blacula, I love that I learned about an early 19th century black vampire story.
Right.
Awesome. I want to read that.
I read part of it online today because I was also really interested to hear that. And I didn't read all of it, but it jumps like right into the violence and the action. Like by the second page, like white slave owners are being like brutally killed by this young vampire character. I was shocked. And it's like, I would like to read the rest of it.
They're like, we're getting straight to the point. These folks is dying now.
Yeah, like I was like, oh, I want to try to read this, but maybe it's going to like gradually work its way into the sensationalistic stuff. But no, I was shocked. Like right away, it's kind of diving right into that, which makes it pretty entertaining to read. Although again, I didn't finish it, so
that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Camp Kaiju Book Club.
Okay. All right. So
Shawn, go for it.
Okay, so executive producers, Samuel Z. Arkoff and James B. Nicholson, B-movie maestros from the 50s to the 1980s. Lots of credits at American International Pictures, who released Blacula. Some key works: Roger Corman's Post Cycle, Frankenstein Conquers the World, The Amazing Colossal Man, let's see here, Q, The Winged Serpent, The Amityville Horror, and tons of other films. The thing about American International Pictures, like their whole thing was like Zarkov's whole thing is you make them cheap, get them out fast. Let's make this money and do it again. It's like, imagine Blumhouse, but with less ethics and even cheaper. Okay.
That sums it up. Yeah.
Like that really sums it up. And there's no shade to Blumhouse. Like I really like what they do because like they actually take legitimate risks. As opposed to like a lot of movie studios nowadays. But like the funny thing is that one thing Samuel Arkoff had while at American International Pictures, he had this thing called the Arkoff formula, where he took his last name and used like the letters in his last name and said, okay, A is for action, exciting, entertaining drama. R is for revolution, novel or controversial themes and ideas. K, killing, a modicum of violence. O, oratory, notable dialogue and speeches. F, fantasy, acted out fantasies common to the audience. And then the last F, fornication, sex appeal for young adults.
That's a formula for success.
And they rode that until the wheels fell off. There was a period of time where like they really tried to like become legitimate. And I'm not saying that the Blaxploitation films aren't legitimate. They're legitimate films. But as far as becoming more mainstream, it's akin to when the Fox network, I'm not talking about the news or the cable channels, but the actual network. When they first started, it was low comedy fare, but then like it picked up when like in Living Color, Martin, Living Single, and like it became like Fox became extremely black. But in New York Undercover, but the ratings were good and they were finally starting to knock on the door. So Fox then, getting all this accreditation and love and ratings and things like that, they're like, well, we want the NFL now. So all the black stuff has to go. So they gentrify the channel. Here comes the NFL. And, the rest is history. So in a lot of ways, AIP tried to do the same thing, but not that heavy of an extent. They saw the tail end of the Blaxploitation era start to hit, and they're like, well, you know what? How about if we do stuff like, there's a film called Westworld, and I forget what studio made Westworld. And so they were was it MGM that made Westworld?
Maybe.
Okay. So the studio was working on a sequel. And then the studio was like, we don't know if we really want to do it. And then AIP said, well, we'll do it. We won't do it for as much as you guys want to, but we'll pay for the rights. And I think it was either called Astro World or Future World or something like that. And they even tried to incorporate Yul Brynner into the movie, which makes no sense at all. And it's like, you're trying to do a motion picture on the level of Westworld with less money, and you're basing it in the future. This is not going to work. And it didn't, but like But like, yeah, but they eventually faded in the 80s. And so that's why like all these different distributors have their movies, because they went out of business, so cause like Blacula, like I have a DVD copy. It's under MGM/Orion, my DVD copy. So yeah, man, it's wild, man. But yeah, that's what I know about Arkoff and American International Pictures.
No, that's great. I didn't know that acronym before. And yeah, ethics aside, I think that for like genre filmmaking, and if you could do that well, I mean, Blacula has most of that stuff, but is done so sincerely, so well.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Makes me wonder if Blumhouse has a similar kind of like first letter or like letter, like similar kind of formula. I would be fascinated to know what that is if they do.
Yes.
Maybe a little bit less exciting. William Marshall, we already talked about a little bit. He plays the African prince Mamuwalde. In the film, in 1787, he visits Count Dracula in Transylvania to gain support in ending the slave trade. Dracula refuses, makes a move on Mamuwalde's wife, Luva, and bites Mamuwalde, turning him into a vampire. I'm sure there's something we'll talk about, but the fact that Dracula gives Mamuwalde the slave name Blacula is a very significant theme in the movie, of course. So Dracula seals Mamuwalde in a crypt for all eternity, and Luva is killed. We already talked about Marshall a little bit. He was an Emmy Award-winning actor with a long history on TV. We already talked about Pee-wee's Playhouse, Star Trek, Bonanza, and many very prominent roles on the stage. He made his Broadway debut in 1944 and understudied Boris Karloff as Captain Hook in Peter Pan in 1950.
Can't you see it?
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. The fact that they two probably met backstage, that's like a dream come true. I'd love to be a fly on that wall in that green room.
I love the monster movie connections that like just kind of pop up out of nowhere,
Yeah.
Between Marshall and Karloff. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I talk about Vanetta McGee real quick? Because I saw her in another movie recently, coincidentally, and I'm a big fan of hers.
Oh, awesome.
Please, dude. Yeah.
So the movie that I saw that she was in is called The Great Silence, the spaghetti western from 1969, I think. It was one of her earliest roles. And that's a really revolutionary movie. Like explicitly, the politics are very revolutionary, and it's making allusions to Che Guevara and Malcolm X and other figures that were recently assassinated in the civil rights movement. So The Great Silence is a really fascinating movie, and Vanetta McGee plays the black wife of a Mexican bandit, and there are a lot of kind of racial subtext in that film as well. So The Great Silence, I did want to shout that out real quick. Vanetta McGee plays Luva and Tina Williams in Blacula. Tina is the contemporary love interest of Mamuwalde. She starred in many black films in the 1970s, including Melinda, Hammer, and Shaft in Africa. This also is probably something we'll talk about a little bit, but she had an ambivalent view, maybe a negative and critical view of the term blaxploitation. She said, like racism, she said that the term blaxploitation was like racism, so you don't have to think of the individual elements, just the whole. Instead, McGee preferred the term black film genre. Black film, she once said, is the most valuable art form in picture since Andy Warhol and Campbell's soup cans, because of the impact it made on the black community. And I think all that is really fascinating, especially, the term blaxploitation, there are so many kind of negative connotations to that, I think, and that can be repurposed in a positive way, but I just like what she said about that. Very, very insightful stuff.
Yeah, like she had such an interesting career. And the thing is that once again, as a child, like, I was like, oh, okay, this is awesome. She's really cool. But there was a movie with Richard Pryor called Bustin' Loose. Yeah, I think it's Richard Pryor and Cicely Tyson. It was a comedy. Okay. And so it was like the early 80s. All right. So you fast forward to 1987, Universal Pictures is like, yo, we got a television division. Let's make a TV show out of Bustin' Loose. We'll make it a sitcom and we'll syndicate it. Vanetta McGee was the lead actress in that film. She was basically playing the Cicely Tyson role, but for the sitcom. And the sitcom is completely different than the actual movie itself. But like, that's where I remember her from, and so now going back and like looking at, Blacula, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I'm like, there goes Mimi Shaw. I was like, there she goes. There she is. So like, it's awesome, and like the fact that like she got to work with like Clint Eastwood in the Iger Sanction, which was like, back then in like 75, that was a big deal, you know. And so, yeah, she had a heck of a career.
I think she has a very nice presence in this movie. I mean, maybe her character as written doesn't have like, I don't know, hugely as dynamic a role as the others, but she plays her part so well, so sweetly. And you believe the love story between her and Mamuwalde. And, you know, all the kudos to her. Yeah, very talented.
Yeah, I feel like the character. Sorry, Sean, I didn't mean.
No. Please go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No worries. I feel like her character Tina, could have been maybe written with a little bit more depth. Like, I don't know if you necessarily believe that like she's so immediately, you know, enamored with Mamuwalde, but I think her performance does sell that idea a little bit. You know,
like one thing about Blacula is that even though you do have like, you know, male and female characters that have legitimate agency, the men still have more agency than the women. But at the same time, there are key scenes where, like, say for instance, when Mamuwalde is talking with Tina at Tina's apartment about them being together and like all this stuff, and like she's real hesitant about it, and it's just like, no, I'm not doing that. And then Mamuwalde says, like, basically, he's like, I'm not gonna force you. He's like, he said, I will not take you by force, and I will not return. And he said, I've lived again to lose you twice. And I was like, well, damn. And then she's like, okay, you can stay.
Yeah.
you know. But the thing is that like William Marshall sold that. He sold that. You know, because like, and that's the thing that gets me. Like, even though the women don't have as much agency as the men, there are moments where women are legitimately respected and given their space and due. Now, there are times where they are not in the film as well. But yeah, like that's like that scene completely fascinates me.
It was so, you know, no means no. And he's like, you're right, babe. I'm not going to force you. And I thought that was rather ahead of its time in a lot of ways.
And it's kind of the ideal from the Stoker novel too, that there is this love between them that transcends time, you know, that maybe she is the reincarnation of Luva, who died so like 2 centuries ago, you know. And part of me wants the screenplay to like maybe develop that idea a little bit more, but yeah, like the performances again really do convince you of that, you know.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, it's weird because they squeeze a lot in an hour and 33, but at the same time, it feels like you didn't get enough in an hour and 33.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like it's such a weird imbalance, you know, because it like the club scenes feel like filler, but even the club scenes are really telling a story.
But I felt the same way. I was like, all right, we got a dance number, we got a song number. Maybe I would like to see some more time with our characters, but at the same time, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, okay. So here's the thing. So like when the Hughes Corporation sings for the first time in the club, like when the lead singer gets to like the final verse and she's like, "Here he comes" or something like that, it like ties into to Mamuwalde coming into the club.
Yeah.
And like it's like sending this warning, and I'm like, okay, that's cute. I like that. But still, there's a whole musical number up in this film. Okay? It's a whole musical number up in this film, and it really feels very Shoot the Rodeo-ish. Okay? For those that don't know, there's a term that like filmmakers use when they need like filler for a movie, and it's called Shoot the Rodeo. So okay, so like say for instance, like you feel like, okay, how can I say this? So like say for instance, like if you're doing a documentary about cowboys and stuff like that, and you needed extra footage and you're at a rodeo, okay, go shoot the rodeo, go shoot the bull riding, go shoot the crowd, go talk to people, like just film as much as you can, give me as much filler, you know, as you can film, as much as you can film, and if we need to incorporate that into the movie, we'll make it happen. Another form of shooting the rodeo, one quick one. It's a very, very terrible film, and you should never, ever watch it. It's called The Thing with Two Heads, also an AIP film.
We have mentioned it on this show before. I don't think either of us have seen it.
Okay.
I'm like morbidly fascinated for all the wrong reasons.
It is so bad. It is so legitimately bad. I have a set of friends who have a podcast, and I went on because they wanted to talk about that movie. It's awful. But the thing is that in the movie, like, because like I forget the two, like Rosie Greer, and I forget the white actor's name, you know, because like the white dude's head is on like the black dude's body, and Rosie Greer's head is still there too, and then, you know, it just doesn't make any sense at all. But anyway, they're running away from like the police, and like they're on like a dirt bike, like, you know, a motorized dirt bike, and somehow they end up in a BMX race. And literally 10 to 15 minutes of the movie is this BMX race that no one cares about. And then they finally leave the BMX race. Shoot the rodeo. So yeah.
Shoot the rodeo. Oh my goodness. All right. We will not have you back for The Thing with Two Heads.
Oh, no. Please bring me back, because I will talk so much trash on that movie.
If we need filler on this show, if we need to shoot the rodeo, we'll just go to The Thing with Two Heads.
Yes.
I have to say that's like skyrocketed to the top of my list for like when we do our like preview of the next season, whenever that is. Like it's going to be on there for sure.
Oh no.
Oh, don't do this to me, Matt.
We have to. It's a sacrifice for the sake of art, you know?
Yes.
Just real quickly, the cast also features Thalmus Rasulala as Dr. Gordon Thomas. He's a medical examiner who notices similarities in the deaths of Mamuwalde's victims. He works as a detective with the police to find the vampire. I was confused what his actual role was. He says he's with the Scientific Investigation Division, I think, which I don't think that exists, but it's one of the campier elements of the movie. Another good performance, though.
He kind of plays the Van Helsing type counterpart.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's even like the inevitable scene where like he and his wife, or perhaps girlfriend, Michelle, I think is her name, right?
Yes.
Character's name?
Yeah.
They check out a bunch of books on vampire lore and like the undead and everything. I loved that. That's like a standby scene in like vampire movies, you know?
Yeah.
Speaking of Michelle, she's played by Denise Nicholas. She's also Tina's sister, in addition to being Dr. Thomas's girlfriend. Michelle often works alongside Dr. Thomas to solve the mystery. Denise Nicholas had a long career in TV, and Blacula was her first feature film.
I will say this regarding Thalmus Rasulala. Like, his character is very, like, he's extremely pro-black, but also at the same time, because of the era that this movie is made, is very frank about the gay community. You know, and like there's a couple of characters that get real frank with that gay slur in this movie. So like, I understand if Gen Z or Gen Alpha is like, no, I ain't watching that. I get it, you know. But at the same time, he's trying to defend the gay couple that got, you know, bitten by Mamuwalde. Because it's like, well, why don't you have information on these two? I thought y'all had information. Y'all lost that information too. Like you lost that information about this other black kid and all this other stuff. He starts to really get into that, and he gets on people. Like, yeah, he can kind of be a jerk. But the thing is, he's like, nobody's getting anything done. I need y'all to work so I can do my job, and I need y'all to take care of us like we take care of you. And so he really does some cool stuff. Honestly, he should have had a series of movies like Hunting Monsters. In all sincerity, like the character would have worked, you know, because when that man says he's part of the Science Investigative Division, I was like, Negro, you lying. There ain't no division like that.
But you want there to be. And
but he was smooth though.
A note I wrote down was, I could watch this man light vampires on fire all day long.
Yes.
That scene was amazing.
Yes.
It kicked so much ass.
When that last police officer that got bitten was a vampire, and like he kept telling Peters like, hey, throw it. He's like, he grabbed it just like
boom.
That was the last scene I watched before hopping online to talk to y'all.
Oh,
that's a good one.
Good for you. Yeah.
Yes. But no, he like, I know he died early. I believe it was like either due to cancer or kidney disease. I believe, I can't remember. But like Denise Nicholas, first off, the Denise Nicholas, I've had a crush on her since childhood. Like she was just beyond beautiful for me. And so, yeah, she did like a lot of TV work, but I'll be honest with you. If she wanted it and if Hollywood would have accepted it, she would have been an amazing scream queen.
Oh, yeah, you could see that.
She would have been an amazing scream queen and just an amazing actress, period. Like, it breaks my heart that she didn't have a bigger movie career than she did. Because, like, I tell you, man, like, as a teenager, like, I heard Denise Nicholas is going to be in a movie. I was like, oh, she's going to be in a movie. Which one is it? Ghost Dad? And then this is an older Denise Nicholas, which is fine. Like, I don't worry about that kind of stuff. But like, I love her. And I was like, well, I guess we're going to go see Ghost Dad, huh?
Got to sit through that.
Some of my favorite moments in Blacula, and one of my favorite scenes is when she's getting involved with Gordon Thomas. Like, they're at the graveyard and she's got on her old clothes and she's getting her hands as dirty as he is. So, and she sells it. She just has like a really great rounded energy. Like, I could be friends with her, even though she is a bombshell and way out of my league. I feel like she's a cool chick. Yeah.
It just her whole charm and whatnot. Like, I will not say every single word in the sentence that she said when Gordon Thomas was like, yeah, come on, baby, we gotta go to the graveyard together and go dig up this body. And she was just like, you ain't getting this beep going to a graveyard tonight.
Yeah.
Like just like the chemistry was there. Like, cause like now, Rasulala as Gordon, like, he's really one note. He's very one note. He's smooth with it, but he's very one note. But Denise Nicholas could bounce off of anybody.
Yeah.
But when she said that line, man, like, I completely forgot. I just started laughing because I was like, I'd have said the same thing.
It's that chemistry, 100%.
Yeah, and Shawn, that's basically what I was going to say too, the chemistry between those two characters. And like, even though the Gordon Thomas character is, like we said, kind of a hard ass, kind of one note, like, I think it's a very loving relationship between them. Like, so loving that he invites her along, like, to the cemetery in the middle of the night to dig up a corpse, and like, it's just kind of actually refreshing in a way to see like a very loving relationship between two characters who are just like in it together. No matter how ridiculous it gets, they're gonna like support each other,
And he's like, see, vampires, and she's like, yeah, I wouldn't have believed you. And there's that kind of rapport.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice comedic and almost like sort of heartfelt moment, as like heartfelt as this movie gets,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're made for each other.
Yeah.
I feel like we've talked so much about the backstory and the release and legacy, but let's go through this and just see what we haven't talked about. So, the origins of this film, William Crane has said in many an interview that American International Pictures, AIP, came to him. They said they were in the red financially and wanted to do a, quote, black vampire. Now, this original script that William Crane and William Marshall were presented was called Count Brown's in Town. And William Crane, quote, says it was full of shuckin' and jivin'. I don't feel like I need to elaborate more on that, other than to say the tone of that script was beneath Crane and Marshall's talents and self-respect and sensibilities. So Crane and Marshall worked with the producers and introduced these ideas, introduced the backstory that our lead vampire was an African prince named Mamuwalde, not Andrew Brown, which was the original name for this character, and just really elevated the material they were working with. The film was shot in Los Angeles, and William Crane was the only black crew member. He talks about this in an interview in that aforementioned horror noir documentary. He said, quote, he did face tangible resistance and resentment on set from certain members of his crew. For example, as he retells, his assistant director on the nightclub scene wouldn't integrate the dancers and wouldn't listen to Crane's insistence that he do so. Remember, Crane is the director, and the AD is refusing to integrate the dancers. This went all the way up to the executive producer, Sam Arkoff. It should never have gotten that far.
No.
But clearly, Crane got his way. as we see.
Here's the problem. Like, this is one of the problems I have with the Blaxploitation era is that going back to agency again. Okay, Crane's the director, but there are no other black crew members at all. At all. Okay? Yeah, you got black actors, you got a black director, but does that black director actually get the power needed to say, I need this done without having to constantly go back to Arkoff and be like, listen, man, y'all want me to make this movie, but your people aren't listening to me. Yeah. So like it hinders the production. You're slowing down the production. I am honestly surprised that both Crane and Marshall were able to get the story changed, because the thing is, Count Brown's in town is right up AIP's alley.
The thing with two heads.
Yeah,
right?
Thank you. Exactly. Yes, it's right up their alley. And so the fact that Crane and Marshall came in with like enough power to be like, no, if you want to make money, this is what you got to do instead. And even though, like I said, the story's got its flaws for sure, still what they were able to pull off is incredible.
This is a tiny bit of a tangent, but one of my favorite parts of BlacKkKlansman, the Spike Lee movie, is the conversation about blaxploitation, because that movie set in the early 70s, and the main character kind of saying that he thinks it's a negative force for African Americans in media and kind of like reiterating a lot of these harmful stereotypes. Or maybe I have that the other way around. I think maybe he likes some blaxploitation films, and the woman that he's seeing is a little bit more critical of them. I haven't seen that movie in a while, but I think that's a fascinating conversation, and maybe... Spike Lee he does often talk about the representation of African Americans in film, obviously. And I just think that part of BlacKkKlansman maybe shed some light on some of Blacula a little bit. Maybe some of the representations do seem a little stereotypical on the surface, but to think of what Crane and Marshall were able to do and subvert some of those, representations, which could have been even worse, is obviously important to keep in mind.
The film was released in August 1972 to a tremendous success. It made Variety's top films list of the year and was one of the biggest money earners of the year. Blacula was the first black vampire on film. Think about all that we know. Well, it starts with this movie.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah, it sincerely kicks off the black horror genre, And the thing is that it made some studios say, well, hey, maybe this can work. Now, granted, how much would they be willing to sacrifice to make that happen is another thing. But but think about it. It's 1972.
It was 54 years ago.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Sorry, Shawn.
It's okay. I'm 50, so it still hits me. I'm like, oh God, I'm close to it. Oh geez. Anyway, but still, if you think about it, William Marshall started acting in the 1940s.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, and the thing is, there are people acting before him, black people acting before him. Even if we went to the age and era of Oscar Micheaux.
Yeah.
A legendary black director who helped black people and he made wonderful films for black audiences in a time of segregation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Still, through all that, hundreds of years, or actually, I almost say 100-something years, they're still from the birth of actual film until 1972, black horror is something that's just next to
it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about this. There's mainstream Hollywood, which is all white. And I've been watching so many Poverty Row movies, So Bad They're Good, B movie, Z movies, right? There actually are a lot of black actors that pop up in these movies, but they're not playing deep roles. They're playing, servants, comedic characters, zombies. I just say that. I don't, take it for what you will, but good and bad. And there's, and the channels in which these actors can really thrive are not that great. It's fascinating. I just want to say the history of cinema, but when you get into things like black cinema, there's just so much to be mined.
Oh yeah.
And dug out of this story. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. The thing is that Blacula is seriously like I said, for its flaws and for its problems, because like it does also like have problems with like the angry black woman syndrome when you're dealing with the cab driver. So like, you know, and when she finally, you know, comes out of her frozen coma to start killing folk, you know, like it's still this angry scream towards the camera. And it's like, it's like the full epitome of angry black woman coming in. Okay. You know, cause like, you know, when she hits Blacula with the taxi, which I did laugh when that happened because once again, I forgot. And I was just like, this is ridiculous. I love it. And she gets out of the car, doesn't say if you're okay. She's like, why are you jumping out in front of my car for? You know, and like just harasses him the whole time. And then she would have been fine, but she had to call him boy. And he was just like, well, I guess you got to die now too. And but like, you know, so you have like that, you have like the angry black woman issue. You also, like I said, you have the issue with the way that the gay couple is treated in the film, because like at the funeral home, the person that runs the funeral home says that the dude's husband is his associate, that they're not a couple. That was his associate. And then, you know, Gordon Thomas, when he's talking with, you know, one of the cats at the PD, LAPD, is saying, you know, calls that couple a gay slur, you know, even though he's like, no, we need these records. Well, y'all can't, y'all won't give me records. Y'all don't protect them, or us. So what do you need? Like, I need these records to do my job. But like, he's trying to help, but still he's using negative connotations on those characters. Yeah. And the thing is that also, like, with the exception of like a couple police officers, all of the vampires are also black. So it's like, it's this weird dichotomy of black people using black people to hurt other people. And so like that plays into it too. Once again, I still love this. I love this film through and through. Like I said, I love it through and through. So like when I'm criticizing it, it comes from love. You know, it comes from love more than anything else, you know? And so, yeah, so like I know people like really overuse this phrase. It's complicated, but with Blacula, it is complicated.
I mean, reading about its legacy, it is almost universally loved for what it did for the filmmakers and cinema following it. But I think we wouldn't be critical thinkers if we didn't rightly critique its flaws and its dated elements. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Buckle up, everybody. Well, let's get to our sponsor break. Open Semenia's mailbox here. So Camp Kaiju is brought to you by Zach Linder and the Zach Pack, powered by Coldwell Banker Realty. Whether you're looking for your dream home, a savvy investment property, or expert guidance in home rehab and flipping, the Zach Pack has you covered. Check the link in the show notes for more information. Matt, our Menia's mailbox is overflowing with mail. I got mail coming in from Don, from Sean Childers, from Jim Chaney, from our anonymous patron. And it's a wonderful problem to have.
Amazing.
Yes. And we're going to read anonymous patrons' very thoughtful email next time. So hang tight, anonymous patron. But just for the sake of time, let's pick out a letter from Jim Chaney.
Yeah, I'll just go ahead and read that. I don't know exactly what Jim Chaney wrote, but he does have a recommended double feature. If you like Blacula, or if you haven't seen it before and you want to check out Blacula, you absolutely should. Jim Chaney's recommended double feature is to pair it with Vampire in Brooklyn, starring Eddie Murphy, directed by Wes Craven, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Jim. That is an awesome double feature. Vampire in Brooklyn is... it's a rough movie, but there's a lot to love about it, for sure.
Oh, it definitely has its problems, for sure. And it's also, but the thing is, I think the thing that like people remember most is the fact they don't think about the film. It's more of what the hell is Eddie Murphy doing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because the thing is, he plays multiple characters in this film. And so this is the precursor. A couple years after this, Nutty Professor comes along and he's like on top of the world again. but like he wanted to do something different. And like, I get it. Like, because like, you kind of get tired of being put in a certain box. And so, especially with actors, it's like, hey, can I please do something different? But he had the pull to make it happen, but people just weren't feeling it at all. And the thing is, that movie's got a good cast.
Mm-hmm. And
so
Bassett, like right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So it's got a heck of a cast. So like Kadeem Hardison, Alan Payne, yeah, Angela Bassett, Eddie, a bunch of other people too. Like I appreciate it. Is it good? No. No. But I appreciate what it was trying to do, because like around that time we also got like a couple other black horror films. Like Tales from the Hood and stuff like that. So like it has its benefits and also it's not great.
Yeah, and as much as sorry, Vincent, I was going to mention, as much as I love Wes Craven, probably not the right choice for that movie. And like if it were made 10 or 20 years later, I don't think he would have directed that movie, but probably not the right choice for that one.
What I'm going to do is you two really, I've mentioned so many great movies for people to check out. I'm going to share a list, definitely with our patrons, but stay tuned, listeners, for a comprehensive list on what you should be checking out. All right. Peter Lorre, he's somewhere in space and time. He's going to talk about Poverty Row picture called The Phantom Speaks from 1945. According to our Letterboxd synopsis, it reads, "The spirit of an executed murderer enters the body of a physician and forces him to do its bidding, namely murder." Sounds great.
Great title. The Phantom Speaks. I love it.
Yes.
If anything, these movies always have great titles, great synopses, but
Is Peter enjoying himself overseas?
Oh yeah, he's got a tan for the first time. Yeah.
Hard to imagine.
Pasty Peter. What?
Hard to imagine.
Right? Yeah. He's like wearing one of those old-timey one-piece bathing suits on the beach.
Oh no.
Drinking pina coladas. Roasted like a lobster.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I'm glad he's finally getting a rest. He deserved it. I think he needed it, in fact.
Most definitely.
Welcome to Poverty Row Studios on the other side of Hollywood, where the stars were dimmer and the red carpets dripped with blood. Together we will watch the best of the worst, movies known for their limited budgets, outlandish concepts, and questionable performances, but with enough haunted houses, zombies, ape men, and devil bats to keep you up at night. This is the Poverty Row Picture Show, and I dare you to sleep through these nightmares. I am your host, Peter Lorre. You may know me from Hitchcock's The Man Who Knew Too Much. No, not the Jimmy Stewart one. No, thank you very much. I was in the first, 1934. And yes, thank you for watching this film, The Batra. I always love hearing how much people loved my movies. So eat your heart out, Jimmy. This one holds a special place in my rotted heart. It was the first English language flick I made. Good grief. Well, in this bathing suit, you wouldn't know it. Anyways, while yes, ironically, I was never in the trenches of Poverty Row myself, it sure feels like it reviewing these bad boys. This week's picture is a Republic film called The Phantom Speaks. It is about a convicted murderer who is executed for his crimes, but not before a psychic scientist visits him and tells him that life beyond the grave is possible. You just need the willpower to bring your consciousness back. And indeed, this murderer's will to enact vengeance on his double-crossers provides enough juju to bring him back. Don't I know the feeling? Well, anyways, the madman proceeds to possess the body of the hapless scientist and compels him to murder those dirty double-crossers. Oh yes, listeners, terror ensues, and it's up to a wisecracking journalist to solve the mystery of how a dead man can commit such crimes. The Phantom Speaks was released in 1945 to mixed reviews. Critics praised the performances, called out the derivative story. Yes, as interesting as this blend of crime and the supernatural is, it was a common theme back in the day. In fact, Phantom Speaks seems to go beyond merely innocent riffing and appears to totally rip off the Universal picture Black Friday, in which Boris Karloff plays the murderous spirit and bumps Bela Lugosi off along the way. Yes, both movies even share actors and specific plot points. It is wild. Additionally, anytime a consciousness possesses the living for malevolent deeds, you are going to remember that Kurt Siodmak novel. Yes, Donovan's brain strikes again, as well as the Poverty Row adaptation, The Lady and the Monster, also from Republic. It appears as if the folks at Republic could not let the good thing, or in this case brain, die. Nevertheless, The Phantom Speaks presents a surprisingly polished film for the Poverty Row. Strong acting and stylish direction go a long way in overcoming any of the worn-out tropes. You certainly can't go wrong with this one. I mean, I know the bar is low, but trust me, because you know what we're gonna do next week. Yes, we're meeting that bar where it lies on the cold ground. Next week, the film called The Vampire's Ghost, a little vampire story set in the jungles of Africa. Oh boy, yes. Hold on to your garlic for this one. Something tells me Prince Mamuwalde ain't gonna be having a good time.
I think the first and foremost, the biggest theme for me that resonates as a viewer is just this legacy of slavery and oppression, and how even from the very beginning, when Mamuwalde is interacting with Count Dracula, and Dracula condemns him to a life of quote-unquote slavery by vampirism, and curses him with the name Blacula, which is a joke. It's a cruel joke. It's a mean-spirited name that Mamuwalde now has to live with.
Okay, so like other thing is when you're talking about the whole legacy of slavery and oppression, like the thing is when you first watch the movie, like it takes place like, you know, hundreds of years ago in Transylvania. Mamuwalde, Luva, and Count Dracula are all talking, and he's like, you know, and basically Mamuwalde is like, listen, you know, like our people would thrive here with your people. We could do all these amazing things. Here's the deal. If you want this to work, here's a list of demands. And like, you know, and so like, you know, Mamuwalde is about, you know, hey, freeing our people, ending slavery, and all these other things. And like, and even in 1972, that's really bold. That is extremely bold on film. That is bold to have a black man say, no, if you want this to work, you will free all of us. And then we can build this great society. And, you know, and so like, it's like still to this day, every time I watch that scene, like it gets me because it's just like, it just really gets me. And to have Dracula just like, hey man, I ain't doing none of that. I'm just gonna, you know, let your wife rot and I'm turning you into a vampire, you know? And so like, yeah, it makes you like, this whole film makes you feel something for Mamuwalde because like his heart is in the right place, but now he has an insatiable thirst and like he's also obsessed with the love that he lost. And so even in all the evil things he's doing, because like a lot, you know, so much of this is like, no, dude, this is bad. You shouldn't do that. But you still feel for him because like in his heart, he's a good dude. Like when Tina dies at the end of the film, like he just stops fighting. He's just like, you know, I fought for all of this for her. This is all I wanted was her. And I just want to be left alone with her and be happy. Now you've taken that away from me. And instead of going on a killing spree, he's just like, you know what? I quit. And just walks right out into the sun.
Yeah.
And like, even as a kid, that like really messed with me. I was like, wait a minute. What do you mean he's quitting? You know, I'm like, you know, ain't you gonna find me? Like, now, if you die fighting, great. You know, hey, you fought for your love, fantastic. No, I'm not doing this no more. And like, you know, that's why I kind of wish there was not a sequel, because the sequel the concept is good. The movie is not.
Yeah. I still gotta watch it though, just for William Marshall.
Oh yeah. It's the only reason. It is the only reason. Like the concept is interesting, but nothing really connects, you know. And so yeah. But yeah. But you know, and also like I said, dealing with black power and pride and you know, and things of that nature. You know, like Gordon Thomas is extremely pro-black. You know, as is Michelle, his girlfriend, is extremely pro-black. And Mamuwalde is extremely pro-black. And so once again, like you get, like I said, agency in that sense, that they are there for their people. They want to help their people, protect their neighborhood. You know, even when they joke about it, like Gordon Thomas is like, man, we're going to move to the suburbs.
Yes. She says,
you know,
yeah, just like last year.
Yeah.
I remember,
you know,
yeah.
and it's awesome. Like, you know, when it says stuff like that, but and last thing, I'm outside of the whole, and we can all talk about together. We talk about the masculinity, patriarchy, homosexuality thing. We've talked about some of it, but
yeah,
one thing that gets me, and I love this line, is when Mamuwalde's talking to Dracula, and after Dracula's like, "No, man, we ain't doing none of this. You know, your people are savages." Blah 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 blah. And William Marshall says, "Suddenly I find your cognac as distasteful as your manner."
Yeah.
Man, I got up and started clapping.
It was so dynamite. Just
yes.
Marshall's ability to deliver those lines. And you know, I've never disliked Dracula as much as I do in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because of his juxtaposition to this very classy man at the table, Mamuwalde.
I thought that was a really interesting point in the Fangoria article that you shared with us, Vincent. The critic, Leah Anderson, I think is her name. She's talking about how, you know, it's playing on our conceptions of Dracula because there is this like romantic mystique around him, you know, like he's a count. He's like European nobility and he has this like love that he's looking for beyond the sands of time. So like, of course, Dracula is like persistent figure in like our cultural consciousness, and Blacula right off the way, like, you know, less than 5 minutes into the movie is like, no, he would be a slave owner. He would be like a vile, racist, probably horrible person, you know? And like, you know, Blacula makes that point right away and you're like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Why did I never think about that, you know? And that's like, I love the first 5 minutes of this movie. Maybe foreshadowing a little bit of my criticism of the film. I think maybe there could have been more of that commentary throughout, but at the same time, I think of that a lot of that commentary is implicit, you know, and I think if the movie was about sort of inequities in Los Angeles in the early 70s, it would just be a very different film, you know? Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of two minds about that, but like the opening scene is really incredible, and again, just makes you rethink this really huge figure in like horror history, you know, maybe in ways that a lot of people haven't thought of before.
Yeah.
On that note, why don't we just get to our individual breakdowns, the good, the bad, and the campy with this film?
You cannot deny the historical importance, particularly in the realm of black horror cinema, just like really a groundbreaking, influential movie. And in some ways, you know, I mean, we already talked about this, but black horror cinema leads back to this movie, at least in the American perspective of it. And I want to hear more what you guys think. So there's more that I like about it, but I'm just going to leave it at that for now.
Let's see here. Like some of the good things, William Marshall, just amazing in the entire film from start to finish. Like even to the point where it's a low budget film, but like towards that final act, after Gordon burns all those vampires throwing those fire bombs, Mamuwalde shows up. But the way he enters the scene, it makes you think that he's just like transformed from a bat to a human and he lands like he just finished flying. Like, to do that with no special effect, like it's a real cheap and easy thing to do, but he made it look smooth though. Even when they turn him into a bat, this low budget, it's still freaking cool. Okay? Because I didn't expect them to do that. I didn't.
I love all the bat stuff in this movie. It looks great.
Yeah, the credit sequence.
Yeah,
the opening credit, like the credit sequence where like you have like basically like a drop of blood turning into a person, or like it becomes like, and like you see like a little vampire bat, and it becomes like this game of like Pac-Man and whatnot. This constant thirst for blood, like the opening credits are great, you know. And but like the other thing, and this is just me being silly, but in the beginning, after he gets into that argument with Dracula and Dracula's goons come in, William Marshall starts fighting, and he does like the Captain Kirk, I'm going to hold this one hand, I'm going to hold my fist with one hand and like bow and like hit you on the back and make you fall. Whoa, when he did the Kirk punch, oh man, it made me so, it just like, I got hype. I got so hype. I was like, man, whoop all these dudes' asses, please. And Denise Nicholas, Vanetta McGee, they're amazing. Thomas Rasulala, fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, like, yeah, those are a lot of the good things. Like, I got more, but that's where I'll stop.
Yeah, I think this movie, for me, it's an actor's showpiece. I think the cast the chemistry is so tight, the ensemble. I mean, the script, I don't think, like the script might be some of the weakest stuff, but the actors are supported by their director too. I think William Crane, I was immediately taken by how much time his camera just lingers on William Marshall. The first time Marshall comes out of the coffin in 20th century LA, he's in this warehouse. Crane just lets Marshall do his thing. You see the actor like realize I'm in a new place. You see the actor breathe air for the first time in 150 years. And it is just really tender. All the moments William Crane just lets breathe, just lets the actors do their thing. And then there's the technical stuff with the camera. There's so many visual shots and components to this movie, but the one that always stands out, I think, is when the cab driver Juanita, she's the vampire and she's thawed out and she comes running down the hall. That's a clip you always see in clip shows, but William Crane had special delivered a high-speed camera to shoot that one moment in slow motion as she's running towards the camera screaming. And yeah, I mean, it's a frightening moment of the undead coming at you. So I think William Crane is directing the hell out of this movie, and the actors are so natural in this movie. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I didn't say a lot of my good category, so can I just add on real quick to what I said before? It's
Please.
Basically like, it's basically what you said. I think the actors really do add a lot of personality and depth to even like supporting characters. And I think one example of that is the woman who works at the nightclub who, she's kind of like, she's taking pictures. She's like going from one table to another and like taking pictures that she then sells to the patrons of the nightclub. But I was just surprised that there's this subplot featuring her where then she goes back to her dark room and she develops a picture of Tina and Mamuwalde, but he doesn't show up in the picture. And then she becomes one of his victims. And I just loved that. She seemed at first like a throwaway supporting character, but like she has a lot of personality. Like she lives apparently right next door to this nightclub. And I was like, I want to know more about this person, And then of course it's like she's dispatched pretty quickly. So that's sad. But like, I like the actors and I just like how this picks up on what you were saying, Vincent, but just like this movie seems to have compassion for its characters and like it treats them not as just like victims, but like, it actually kind of cares about what they're going through in some cases, not in all of them.
Yeah. Critiques of the film.
I will say once again, the use of gay slurs is not a good thing, you know. And I know that is a legitimate product of its time, you know, but like the movie does have issues with homosexuality. It also has issues with, even though the ladies in the film do have a form of agency, it's still less than the men have in the film. Even though the women are assertive, and they are assertive. They, you know, make their own decisions and their own choices and whatnot, but still the men still have more agency than they do. You know, so like that's an issue too. But once again, that is also a product of its time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a product of its time. So like, I get it, but like those would like kind of like be the bad things. Like, and besides that, like the fact that they were going to make, you know, Count Brown in town, you know, which just sounds like such a horrible idea. Like that gets stuffed in the bad bag, and then that bag gets crumbled and lit on fire.
Gladly, yeah. But I didn't like. Intellectually, I'm watching the movie and I'm like, okay, maybe this is a filler scene. I would like to see a little bit more of this character, and that was an interesting dynamic. Let's dig into that a little bit more. But by the end of the movie, I was like, I mean, they didn't ultimately distract me from what I was watching, because I was feeling it was a choice to meander with certain characters. It was a choice to just give us a flavor of this or that. So I could come up with bad things, but I didn't really have any bad things with this movie.
I totally agree with everything you said. I do, you know, the script could have been improved on in certain ways, I think. And again, I loved the opening scene, and then I think that introduces so many fascinating subtext to the movie, but then I think for much of the film's running time, there isn't a lot of that. I know I kind of already alluded to this, but I might have preferred like a little bit more emphasis on the social and political commentary. But again, you can read that into it, like some of the stuff about sort of police ineptitude when it comes to gay and black characters, like that's there. And I think, you know, you can, like, that's an overt theme of the movie, and there are some other themes that you can read into it as well. You know, with like very low budget films, I'm always kind of a little bit ambivalent. I love what resourceful filmmakers can do on a low budget, and maybe at the same time I would like a little bit more polish and craft to some of the scenes, especially in like the water treatment plant, I think is where it's filmed at the end. Like there could have been some really exciting moments, and it kind of emphasizes the camp more than like the suspense and the action. Like when Mamuwalde is like throwing water barrels on people, and it's like, oh, this is like the 1966 Batman. So, but that's, you know, that's the camp and the pleasure of it too at the same time. So I can't criticize the movie too much for that. Yeah, those, you know, they're mild gripes for like a very, again, influential movie.
Yeah, you're on the money with that. Mamuwalde throwing barrels. I thought, is this what he would do? He would he's a little more dignified than that.
Right. Like he has no problem just grabbing somebody and literally backhanding them. Because when he backhand slapped Gordon Thomas, man, I laughed so hard because like Gordon Thomas did a spin and hit that couch. Like, oh,
yeah. I recently watched the movie 3 the Hard Way. I don't know if you guys have seen that. It's a Blaxploitation movie that has like, it's fun. It's a very fun movie, but like the action scenes, you can tell it's like, just fight in front of the camera. We're not going to choreograph it at all. Like even Jim Kelly, who plays a karate expert in that movie, I don't know if they choreographed any of the fight scenes. So it's like, it's very entertaining. It's very amusing, but it's like, oh, I might have liked to see an actual action scene here as well, you know?
Yeah.
Yes.
But so entertaining at the same time.
Yeah. Like I never get tired of him throwing the barrels though. Even though it doesn't fit with everything else this man has done in this film. You know, he normally just lays hands on you. That's it, and bites you. Oh man, I gotta throw these barrels though.
He's also at the end of his rope. Like he knows his time is short. I mean,
yeah.
Even Mamuwalde can be like a rat in a corner. He's just like, I'm desperate.
Yeah.
So you could read that narrative into it too. Like, what else are you gonna do?
Yeah. That is true. That is
Final act of rage.
Well, we're talking about a lot of campy things. I'll add The medical assistant with the hook for a hand.
Yes.
Like, why not? The actor went to props or costumes and said, "Can I get a hook?" And Crane probably said, "Yeah, let's put a hook on you." I love that. I love when Mamuwalde orders a Bloody Mary at the nightclub. It's too on the nose, but it's also perfect.
Yeah, I love that. I love the white police officer. I think his name is Peters. He really does seem inept, and I like no shade to that actor, but like his like lack of emotion, especially in that scene. Shawn, you were talking about this before, but he just like cannot throw that like Molotov cocktail bomb or whatever it is, and he's just like standing there. Like, I'm sure he's flummoxed by the vampires that have come out of nowhere, but still, that actor's performance, I love just how blank faced it is. That's a very campy moment to me.
Like Gordon Thomas is like, listen, I'm not dying tonight because of you.
Get out of the way, man. Yeah.
Oh man, no, like for like as far as the camp goes, like there's tons of it. There's tons of it, and y'all have had perfect examples. But like the thing for me, like as far as camping, it's not that it's really campy. I just really love William Marshall's. Like a lot of William Marshall's lines are just so spot on. They fit the mood every time. Before he said, suddenly I find your cognac as distasteful as your manner. Like he was like, "Sir, are you ill?" See, like stuff like that is just dope. Like, and like the word he like when Gordon Thomas and Mamuwalde they start talking about vampires.
Yeah.
Like you could cut the tension with a knife. Like
that's that. Yeah.
Like it's perfect. It's
the classic.
Perfect.
It's the Dracula Van Helsing dynamic you want in a Dracula movie, right? They're sitting at a table, pretending everything is normal, but underneath they're just jabbing at each other. Oh, so juicy.
That's a great scene. Love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Man, I might have to watch this again tonight after I get off this call.
I'm telling you, I might buy this movie after we get off this call.
I don't know if it's going to be easy to find. Now you might be able to find like a DVD pretty cheap at like a used DVD place.
Yeah.
Like a couple years ago, actually it's longer than a couple years ago, there was a re-release on Blu-ray that came with both Blacula and Blacula Scream. But it was a short print run. So actually, let me go look right now. Let's see.
Okay.
And Blacula Blu-ray. Be my buddy. Just be my buddy and say that like it's been re-released again.
I mean, I've seen it on eBay and stuff, but yeah, it's weirdly hard to come by.
Yeah, okay, so Shout Factory under their Scream division had put it out, and so like it's kind of difficult to get now. So like price average is between $50 to $100. But like overseas, if you've got a region-free Blu-ray player, there's a Blacula complete collection for like $20.
I think that's where I got hung up on the regions.
Yeah.
Why? That is needlessly complicated.
Oh, very complicated. Very, very complicated. So yes. So yeah, sorry. I didn't mean to put us on the tangent. Like when we start talking about Blu-rays and stuff, I get excited. So,
Totally. No worries. Well, let's give our final thoughts, our final ratings. Matt, take us away. Set us up.
Yeah, absolutely. As always, at the end of Camp Kaiju, we give the film a rating. Our rating system is, number 1, it's a timeless classic. It definitely stands the test of time. Our second rating, there may be some antiquated moments, but overall it's great. It stands the test of time. Number 3, it may be historically significant or just fun, but it does not stand the test of time. And our lowest rating, it's not worth revisiting. It definitely does not stand the test of time. Well, I can real quick kick us off. I'll keep it brief and then turn it over to you guys. For me, there may be some antiquated moments. There definitely are antiquated moments, and we've already talked about some of the offensive dated moments that some modern audiences may have issues with, and there are some other flaws as well. But it stands the test of time. It is such an influential movie, and there are so many little things beyond that historical importance to recommend, little surprises here and there that are surprising and sometimes delightful. Sometimes darkly delightful.
I have to agree with Matt. There may be some antiquated moments, but overall it's great. It stands the test of time. I mean, like, I can never be disrespectful to this movie for everything that it's done in the history of cinema. You know, like, come on, man. Like, if there isn't a Blacula, does Jordan Peele start making horror movies after he decides like acting ain't, he's like, I'm not doing this acting stuff no more. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
You know, and the thing is that we've had like, so many like black directors since William Crane, and like, so there's so much influence in this film, and, outside of the story, outside of the campiness and everything else. Like, it's a classic. It is absolute classic. Like, I can't give it timeless classic because of some of the things that it says in the film. But yeah, it stands the test of time. I love this movie.
I couldn't agree more. I fell in love with this movie right off the bat. I was like, this kicks so much butt, and it's so well done, and it's got so much heart. But the very definition of antiquated moments is in this movie with the language. So, like, really unforgivable. It's dated, but don't let that stop you from watching it, right? It is, the legacy and the influence is monumental. And I don't think enough people realize, and I'm going to include myself in this group of people in the world who have heard Blacula and they think it's a joke. Even, I watched this movie on the Roku channel, forgive me, but on the title on the screen, and then underneath it's got the running time, it's got the director, and then it's got like the genres, and it says horror and hilarious, right? And I'm like, this isn't actually a funny movie. It can't be, right? But it's not a comedy. But I think that's the reputation it has to Joe Schmo on the street, and I think that's a mistake. And I think people should watch this and understand the historical impact and the artistry involved with this film and the talent involved. So it's a classic through and through, despite some antiquated moments. Shawn, thank you so much, man, for joining us on this. This conversation wouldn't have been what it was without you and Matt. I just want to thank you for your research and your know-how. Thank you guys for making the show what it is. Thank you for hanging out with us, friends. What a fantastic episode with Shawn Pryor. Please check out his books and his work and his writings in our show notes, along with some in-depth reviews of Blacula. We'd love to continue this conversation over on patreon.com/campkaiju, over on Instagram at campkaiju@gmail.com, campkaijupodcast.com. Leave a voicemail with our number 612-470-2612 and let us know what you think about Blacula or any of the other films mentioned in this episode. Or what you think about the upcoming episode, Alucarda, a 1977 supernatural horror film from Mexico. It looks downright diabolical. Can't wait. Let's see what you think about it. Camp Kaiju is recorded in Minneapolis, St. Paul, with Media's Mailbox music by Ben Cook-Phelps. Thanks, friends, and until next time, stay campy. Camp Kaiju is brought to you by Zach Linder and Zach Pack, powered by Coldwell Banker Realty. Whether you're looking for your dream home, a savvy investment property, or expert guidance in home rehab and flipping, the Zach Pack has you covered. Check the link in the show notes for more information.
You find merit in barbarity?
Barbarous from the standpoint of a slave, perhaps. Intriguing and delightful for mine. I would willingly pay for so beautiful an addition to my household as your delicious wife.
Sir, are you ill?
Oh, I meant no insult, Prince. It is a compliment for a man of my station to look with desire on one of your color.
Sir, I suddenly find your cognac as distasteful as your manner. You're behaving like some animal.
Really?
Really.